Welcome back to another opportunity to learn, grow, and come back and uncover that light, that power that we have within us. Today, I am joined by Carlita's boyfriend and also my very good friend.
Is that what I'm known as now these days?
Well, you know what? She was on the last one,
okay,
so I have
true,
to, you
true.
know.
I'm not opposed. I'm honored.
I know. Listen,
definitely.
this man's in love.
Yeah.
But this is Grant Kellogg, also known as the Cacao King on Instagram. Cacao. And we're here super relaxed today, also at Casa Atma, where the last one was filmed. And we're here to learn a little bit more about Grant, the things he offers to the community that he builds. And the intention here is to leave you with some practical tools that are typically more in the spiritual realm that you could use to really tap further into who you are, to understand yourself at a higher degree.
Let's tap in.
Grant, start however you'd like, but I'd love to just, get an idea and provide an idea of who you are for the people who are listening, other than Carlita's boyfriend.
Yeah, well, today, I am known as the Cacao King. I share cacao ceremonies anywhere I can go.
Yep.
And but today I'm the matcha king. I'm sipping on a little ceremonial matcha that I whisked up this morning. I like to wake up and at least for like the first hour and a half, like not drink any caffeine, not eat any food, and then I have like either a matcha or a cacao or a cafecito these days. But when we were doing our 3-week Ashtanga immersion, sometimes I'd wake up, have an espresso shot. I need it at 7 a.m. Ashtanga, primary series.
Every day, 5 days in a row for 3
weeks.
Yeah,
give me a little espresso, So,
I hear you.
But, on a normal Saturday like it is today, the moon is in Aries. So there's a little bit of fire in the sky today.
Oh, yeah, I'm feeling
also
it.
An Aries
I got
moon,
a moon
so
in Aries, yeah.
It was like the perfect day to do a podcast. So I'm honored to be here, and thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah. So I got to meet Grant through a Tony Robbins event back in 2017. And one thing that has always brought us together really is Grant, because Grant is a fantastic community builder. And that's how I ended up at Casa Atma, because Grant and Carlita, as a couple for the first time, held the retreat, and I was honored to be a part of that retreat, and we're starting another one this coming week.
Yeah, the Aquarius Retreat starts on Wednesday. We got people flying in from Europe, from Miami, from Tampa,
all
from
over the place. Illinois,
Chicago, all around the world. And so Aquarius season, you mentioned that I'm a community builder. Thank you for that compliment. But Aquarius season is all about community. Aquarians tend to spend a lot of time by themselves. They go really deep inward. You're a Sagittarius, right? So Sagittarius, they're also very independent, but they're outward. That's why they're very honest and they're
very
blunt.
extroverted.
Yeah, adventurous, right? It's like the Sagittarius wants to learn and expand by traveling to Bali. The Aquarius wants to learn by traveling to Bali within the human body and the heart,
and create community in Bali as a result of traveling with it. Yeah,
exactly. So that's where we really got to connect even deeper, was in Bali, and so now we're here and in the Aquarian age, and we're tapping in Casa Atma.
It is the Aquarian age. I forgot about that. This is just like next 2,000 years is yours.
It's the time of being in community and unity and coming back to ourselves. And today you said we're going to talk about some of the tools that I like to use to come back to myself, which is truly my home is my heart.
Right.
And that's why I like cacao, that's why I like mantras, that's why I like astrology, is being able to tune in to the energy of the day. How do I feel? Showing up honestly, like the Sagittarius would, and using these tools to come back into my heart center.
Yeah. So a perfect segue there is, aka the Cacao King.
Yeah.
One way that you come into your heart.
Matcha King.
Is Matcha King on Saturdays. But one way that you expand your heart, you open spaces for community and for your own self-discovery, is through cacao.
Yeah.
So maybe you can share with us what cacao is, first off, if some people don't have an understanding or are new to it, and also like how you came to actually start giving cacao ceremonies.
Definitely. So cacao in its purest form is a fruit.
Okay.
And inside this beautiful fruit that is typically red, orange, sometimes green, that is native to Mexico, Guatemala, Central South America, which was then the seeds were then brought over to the Philippines and into Asia, where it's very abundant over there as well.
Bali.
Different. There's 3 different strains of cacao, and in this fruit of cacao is the seeds, and so we use those seeds and we ferment them to take off that white pulp, and you grind up those seeds after you roast them, and you get cacao paste, and that's what we use in the ceremony, and it has many health benefits like magnesium to help you relax, iron, calcium for your bones, theobromine, which is it's the bliss molecule. So it actually cacao activates the same thing in your brain as THC.
Same neural pathway. Interesting.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So that's why you feel this euphoric feeling when you drink cacao. But maybe you're listening like, oh, I eat chocolate or I had cacao and I didn't feel anything. Well, a lot of the big chocolate companies,
it's so manufactured.
It's so manufactured, and also the way that they are farming their cacao is very corrupt and is through slavery. So it's very important to source your cacao.
They're focused on margins. So like the actual product doesn't have the same quality as if you were to get it from like a more like fair trade, like sustainable type of business where they're focused on the quality of the product instead of just as much money as they can make. You know?
So I love sourcing cacao from different local farmers and friends that have companies and things like that. Soon I'll be launching my own.
Let's go. Plant some seeds.
Exactly.
You heard it here first.
Hey, let's go. So getting cacao from its purest form in that buttery, thick cacao paste and adding that with some, almond milk or coconut milk or even just water and honey, cinnamon, cayenne, blending it or heating it in a pot. There's many different ways you can do it. And it just tastes delicious. And when you set an intention and you add mantra and dance and different things along with really the medicine of cacao, it really opens things up. There's Maria Sabina is a famous shaman woman from Mexico, and I don't quote me on this if this is actually from her. I think it is. It might not be, but I know it's a famous shamanic quote. And the quote is a Westerner came to the shaman and said, like, I need healing. Like, what do I need, right? And the shaman simply said, like, when was the last time that you danced? When was the last time that you sang? When was the last time that you connected with the earth? When was the last time you celebrated life? And just coming back to these natural things, and that's what cacao ceremony is all about, is singing and dancing and celebrating life. And depending if it's a new moons are times of going more inward and journaling and setting intentions, and full moons are more times of let's dance together and let's be let's be more outward.
And also, like, it's funny, like, so simple the questions that are asked in this specific scenario, when you're expecting, like, oh, maybe like I have a thyroid disease, or this is out of balance and I need, this specific medication for this amount of time. It's complex. But actually it's like simple things that you could bring into your life. And once you have like a kind of an orchestra of dance and good sleep and hydration and good food, it's like your life really starts to open up in a different way.
True. And
also, just to complement like the cacao ceremonies, we sing and we dance, right? Two big things: moving the body and singing. Singing is really good for what is known as your vagus nerve. So I learned a lot about the vagus nerve through Dr. Nicole LePera, also known as the holistic psychologist, on Instagram. And in her book, she talks about how singing is really good for the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is kind of like the main highway for your nervous system. And so what happens is when you do things like singing and you're in a safe space to dance and express yourself, even cold plunges, they help you regulate your nervous system. So if you had traumas in the past that happened they could dysregulate and add kind of like stress into the vagus nerve, kind of like how you would have a knot in a muscle in your back. It's like you have a knot kind of in your nervous system. And so through things like singing and dancing, you get to release that stress in a way where you add capacity to experience like the joyous parts of life. And that's why I feel like the cacao ceremonies that you hold and that we've experienced together, they feel so nourishing. They could be painful at some points, right? Because these things are coming up, but they're also like, they're so nourishing, especially when we practice gratitude and everything with them too.
Definitely, yeah. It's you know, the cacao ceremonies are designed to get everyone outside their comfort zone. You know, going around in a circle and listening to, you know, one of the best ways to feel seen is listening to each other. You know, and one of the best ways of feeling heard is being able to speak to a group. Like we did the other night. Exactly.
We had like 10 people in a circle and everybody got to share like, you know, what they were grateful for, maybe what they were moving through. And it was like beautiful just to be heard and seen.
Totally, exactly. And to be able to hear like where everyone is coming from. You know, because we hold so much within here. And so like you said with the vagus nerve is, I'm not, you know, a master in physiology or anything at all, anatomy. But I know energetically with the cacao, it increases the blood flow into the heart. And then with the singing and the dancing, it helps move that energy up through the throat as well. So you're able to like speak your truth. You know, it's like you want to feel what's in your heart, but you also want to be able to share it.
And that is also another key component of the theobromine. Because the theobromine is a little similar to caffeine, where it's actually a vasodilator. So it's actually opening up your bloodstream so that more blood can flow through. And when more blood flows through, you have more energy flowing through, you know? And it's like, you know?
It's beautiful.
The heart opener. Literally, like your cardiovascular system is expanding when you eat or drink cacao.
It really is. And then when you can combine that with visualization of, you know, closing your eyes and seeing your heart opening, and then, you know, using a mantra like Om Mani Padme Hum or Cacao Sita La Medicina, or I fill my cup with gratitude, these different gratitude songs that increase the heart opening, you know, and the community sharing and everything. You know, you never know what's all gonna happen in a cacao ceremony, but
never know. And I ask Grant sometimes, I'm like, all right, what's like the plan for tonight? Are we doing a dance, or are we doing kirtan? Kirtan is singing, if you don't know what that is. And Grant's just like, we'll see what happens.
Exactly, we'll see what happens. You know, and it depends who comes and the energy and everything. Of course, I have you know, an intention of why I'm sharing, and that's one of the main things is like when I do hold space, I'm like, why am I doing this? You know, I come back to like my heart before I share. I have my own cup of cacao. I sing my own mantra. I do some of the stretching and the breathing exercises that I'm going to share, so I feel prepared. But I leave space for the magic and the moment. Like in the last cacao ceremony, you came to me after we drank the cacao and you said, hey, I really have something to share. And I was like, I had space for the magic. And you shared, and then we just went into a sharing circle.
For like an hour, we just, everybody shared,
And before that, we were dancing and everything. So we didn't even, it's not like we missed anything at all. It was perfect. So, you know, any yoga class or something that is like maybe more traditional or more like more structured or something, you know, maybe you're not having a student come up to you in the middle of class like, hey, put this pose in, you know, but like you know, it's an open space. Like cacao ceremonies, I wouldn't be sharing cacao ceremonies if it wasn't for Ayla Nasira in Bali giving me the opportunity to freestyle in a ceremony and making the ceremony feel like it was mine. You know, and that's the main thing is like when I hold this community container, I want everyone to feel like it's their ceremony. That they have the opportunity to jump on the cajon or play the flute or to share what's on their heart or to heal in the space, right? It's just I'm holding the space and I'm preparing the cacao and I have different activities and things that we're going to guide through. But if anyone wants to step up and spit some bars, like, game on, you know?
Understood.
Exactly, yeah.
So you're holding the space, and it's like a cup, right? It's like the structure, and then you pour the liquid inside. The liquid is like more the creative essence, whereas the cup is the structure. It's like the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah,
right?
it's like it's an elixir of creativity, an
and
elixir of life. And the cacao, it's super powerful, yet subtle and sweet and delicious. But I believe, as you know, I love to make elixirs, and I also love to cook. I believe that we have a power through intention, through our hands and our awareness, to put love into the pasta we're making at home, or to the matcha, or to the cacao we're preparing. And so when I'm making the cacao, and even if I'm blending it, when I'm blending it, I hit that button, I'm like, activation. I put a little maple syrup in there, I'm like, love and healing, and cinnamon is gratitude and everything. And I'm like going through this whole process and everything, and you can really feel it. And
there's a movie called I Am, and it's by a very, very accomplished director out of Hollywood, and I'm forgetting the name, but he worked with like Jim Carrey in like some of his biggest movies, and I'm forgetting the names, but I'll link I Am down below. But he had a major concussion that basically derailed his life for like a year. Dang. And at the end of it, when he was basically rebuilding himself, through these different kind of spiritual practices, which he didn't know beforehand. And you had mentioned like you believed that you could share that energy with things. In the movie, they held an experiment that you could watch where they had the bacteria in yogurt just like separated from everything else, but they had a meter to understand the energy within the yogurt. And it started at 0, and it had a negative and it had a positive on the scale. And when he spoke to it in different affirmations, whether positive or negative, you could see like the actual energy flow from negative to positive. And it's like, at the end of the day, everything is energy, right? Like, you can go down to physics. This isn't spirituality. It's like you have electrons, you have neutrons. Like, that's how we're made up, right?
Wow.
And like, it was real. So just to compliment you, and if you guys want to check this out.
Totally. And that cool. Also goes that, like, things like yogurt or coconut yogurt, things that have probiotics, it's literally like active live
very
cultures.
Alive,
the food is alive. And so that's why it's also important to not only put the intention into what you're eating, but to be conscious of what you are eating, and is my food dead or is my food alive?
Right.
And eating consciously, not only just how much you're eating or the timings or all these things, but like what is the oils it's cooked within, or what hands are cooking the food, or the colors of the food, and how it all goes together. And I just love food and elixirs.
Listen, at Casa Atma too, the food's great.
It is.
One thing I learned from you too, and I mentioned this to you too, is I eat so fast. Like, I eat too fast, and I recognize that. Grant is the opposite. He eats super slow, and I love that. Like, it's very mindful. You're not rushing in. Your body is digesting it. You're probably chewing it much more than I am. And as a result, your body actually gets to absorb and digest it in a much fuller way. So
so in Ayurvedic, I'm Vata Pitta.
Okay.
So Vatas are air. I'm an Aquarius sun, air. I'm a Cancer moon, water. And I'm a Libra rising, air. I'm very much air. I'm a Mars Leo, there's some fire. I'm a Venus Capricorn, there's some earth. But I'm an airy person. I'm very much about freedom and community and oneness and love and vibration and blah blah blah. But I'm not as earth and fire, and earth and fire is digestion.
Right.
Air and water is light and flow and intermittent fast and everything.
So opposite sides of the spectrum.
I need to take care of myself in that way. If I eat too fast, I could get indigestion. Or if I don't eat mindfully, I'm gonna feel like, exactly, right?
You feel like shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
So so it's just, I want to take care of myself, and I know that the way that I eat today will help me for tomorrow, and etc. So it's something that, you know, I'm still learning and growing over time, but I feel very grateful to be where I am with my relationship with food right now. And cacao has helped me a lot with that, because when I get my cacao, when I'm making the cacao, it feels so karmic, because when you get to make an elixir for people, or you get to feed people, you're serving, you know, and in a way, we're here to serve each other. We're here to serve the earth.
Secret to living is giving.
Exactly. Right. So it fills up my soul. And then in the cacao ceremony, we don't drink the cacao at least till like an hour into the ceremony.
This thing is sitting in front of us sometimes for 5 minutes, and it's like,
right.
I just everyone take it down.
But it's like, that's also the practice. Is like, is you know, okay, now we get our cacao, but first we got to warm up our body, our stomach, and tell our body, like, you're about to receive this medicine. So you don't get in to walk in and here's a cup of cacao. It's like, you got to work for this, dog.
And when you're actually sitting there with the cacao and you're like, I just want to take it down, you recognize those sensations in yourself of like just needing something, wanting something, and you could become aware of that instead of getting caught up in that. And when you do get, you know, into that place of being able to just kind of sit with the strong desire to just take down whatever's in front of you, it's like that's where the power is, because you're not being reactive, you're being responsive, which is something we talk about a lot on my channel.
Definitely. We live through a consuming culture, you know, and but like you said, the secret to living is giving. And so we're quote. Exactly. Shout out TR. So
Tony
when
Robbins.
we have, you know, the cacao has really helped me translate to the dinner table, when it's like, all right, like I have in Japan, when you get a cup of matcha, you rotate your cup of matcha for the 4 qualities, the 4 intentions.
Which you actually did. You like went to Japan, you did all these things. You learned like some of the really native traditional ceremonies.
Definitely. I had an amazing time in Japan, and I've used different things I've learned in matcha ceremonies and brought them into cacao ceremonies. And Japan is such a wonderful place. I gotta go. Highly recommend it for anyone. I mean, the Zen energy, the onsen baths, even Tokyo is so dope, and the matcha there is just
unreal.
Unbelievable. So arigato. Arigato gozaimasu.
Is arigato like the traditional?
That's thank you very much.
Okay.
In Japan, they're very respectful. In a traditional matcha ceremony, let's say there's 5 people in here, the matcha ceremonialist serves each participant one by one. Okay. So
it's very intentional, their culture sounds
It's very intentional, it's very clean. And that is another thing that I learned and I take into consideration every time when I prepare cacao, especially these days, is cleanliness. And the purity of ingredients. Like I don't use almond milks that have
all these like
gums in it, right? It's like I make my own homemade coconut milks or almond milks, or I source them if I don't have the time to prepare them on my own. Of course, no sugars or gluten or things like this, you know. And back in the day, sometimes I did, right? But I've learned and I've evolved.
You're refining your practice, exactly. Learning, growing, evolving.
Exactly. Let's go. Yes, sir. But in Japan, they clean everything, and then they pour into a bowl, they pour water into it, and then they pour it out, and then they put the matcha in it, and then they whisk it, and it's a very clean process. And then I serve you the matcha, and then they clean it all again, and then they do it again. You know,
it's very refined.
It's unbelievable. It's like it's a meditation. This practice, and the warriors and the samurai use matcha to help them focus longer in meditation.
And then the meditation benefits their actual practice as warriors.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's why matcha and cacao are both 2 of the beverages that are ceremonial grade. And ceremonial grade essentially just means that when it was farmed and harvested, it's
high quality.
It's the highest quality, and that it was taken care with mindfulness and love, that this green tea leaf or this cacao pod will be used intentionally for a ceremony to help you focus with matcha or help you open your heart with cacao.
Okay, so you mentioned that these warriors are using these specific, like, high quality ingredients to fuel their lives, have better energy, have better focus. But you mentioned meditation. So I'm curious, I know that you practice things like mantras, you practice kirtan, you practice cacao ceremonies. How do you fit meditation into your life, or how have you seen meditation benefit your life in the practices that you've done before?
For me, I have a very active mind. I have a very active body. So just sitting and meditating has been a challenge for me over the years.
Yeah.
I've had people in the past be like, let's sit down and meditate. And I'm sitting there like, you know, and people consider me like a spiritual person, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is really hard.
But you practice yoga.
Exactly.
Which is another form of meditation.
So asana just is there to help you prepare you for meditation. So I really enjoy using asana, Ashtanga practice, to prepare me for that closing sukhasana, the resting posture, and the closing meditation and things like that. Over the years, I have practiced more meditation, which has helped me come back to stillness, and I hope this year I can make it to a Vipassana to really...
Hey, we're going to be there together, hopefully.
Let's get it.
Massachusetts.
Exactly. You know, to just be able to find that stillness.
Yeah.
Because when you find that stillness, this is a quote from my brother Jonah Kess, but when you find that stillness, you can really begin to feel.
Right.
And when you find that peace and quiet, you can really begin to hear.
Right. Yeah.
And
just creating space.
Exactly.
And that's what meditation, that's what yoga is, right? It's just creating space between yourself and all of the type of stimulus around you, whether it's in your mind or in the external.
But for you out there, if sitting like this, cross-legged, and just, you know, finding stillness and connecting with your breath is too challenging for a long period of time, don't be hard on yourself, because there is many moving, active meditations, such as making the matcha, or such as drinking your cacao mindfully. Anything that brings your focus to one point, right? And that's in yoga. It's called your drishti. When you are in a warrior 2, you know, your drishti is right at your middle finger. Or if you're in a downward facing dog, your drishti is at your belly button, your ombligo in Espanol. I love that word, ombligo. So it's all about bringing your focus to one thing. Growing up, my meditation was going out in the yard and shooting basketballs. And then wake surfing.
Anything could be a meditation.
100%.
It's about your focus and where your awareness is. And it's like, are you allowing yourself to get caught up in all the thoughts and like the other things that you could be doing or had to do or should do? And it's like being here.
Exactly.
I found it very difficult in the beginning. I've been meditating twice a day, every day for about June 6th will be 7 years completion.
Wow.
I have found that it was difficult for me to bring that meditative mindset and practice into like making a cup of cacao or coffee or tea, whatever, until I sat down and did it myself, whether through guided or through something like yoga, where it's like a very formal practice, and then from that foundation, bring it into like something like cacao, like making cacao or playing basketball. And it's like, and this just goes to show, kind of like astrology, it's like we are all so unique and different. And so if you want to try meditation, like try the different ways of doing it, whether it's yoga, whether it's guided meditation, whether you want to really try and focus on just cleaning the dishes for 20 minutes. Like bring your attention back. When it gets lost, bring it back. When it gets lost, bring it back. And each moment that you bring it back to that focus point, you're expanding your space, you're expanding that capacity to be with that stillness that Jonah was mentioning.
Aho. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, for
Love
sure.
it. Yeah.
So meditation,
Yep.
The other thing that I really wanted to bring up with you is, honestly, whatever comes to mind for you, but mantra, or kirtan, or if you want to talk more about astrology. But I feel like mantra could be a good one here, and I know that you've been diving into this even further the past month with the Be Here Now or Be Love Now, and myself included, because I was reading that right beforehand.
For sure. Mantras are affirmations,
right?
And mantras bring you into a deep state of meditation,
right?
And the more you repeat it, the more you're gonna feel it. And I remember when I first started chanting kirtan in Bali, the kirtan teacher said, doesn't matter if you don't even know what these mantras mean, just keep chanting it. And I had all these things going through my head, like, is this religious, or is this, what am I saying, or like, who am I preaching to? And then I just kept saying the mantra and kept saying the mantra, and I was letting go of things, and memories from my past came up, and all these different things. So it's a profound practice. Kirtan, traditionally the Hare Krishnas chant kirtan, but mantras are just affirmations, and anyone can take an affirmation. Like you said, the movie I am love, I am gratitude,
or whatever you want after.
Or it can be, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, which is the Ho'oponopono mantra. That
Hawaiian.
comes from Hawaii, which is such a beautiful, beautiful mantra of loving forgiveness. And with Valentine's Day this around the corner, and February being the month of love, of Black History Month, and futuristic February, all about letting go of the past and moving forward into the future. But Kanye West, just to shout him out, he actually said Black Future Month, which I thought was also very powerful as well. The future of African Americans, and the future of all races, and unity, and that's the Aquarian age, and that's what
recreating like our own values for the future instead of relying on what was left for us from the past.
Definitely. I believe our future is bright, and even right there, that is a mantra. I believe our future is bright. So much right now, there is a lot of fear, there's a lot of worry about apocalypses and pandemics and all of these things that they're just trying to put into our mind, to put us into a state of fear instead of a state of love. When you are in fear, you cannot love, but when you are embodying love, you have no fear.
And when you're in a state of fear, it's like you can't create your life. You're much more controllable, and you don't have the power that really resides within you. You're tapping into a totally different part of yourself.
Totally. So I truly believe we have a bright future. That the ocean will be cleaned. Of course, there's a lot of work to be done. There's 100%. A lot of vibes we need to raise, but that's why we're here. It's like, without a challenge, like, what is life? And that's the Aries moon today, right? It's like Rosa Parks' birthday was yesterday. It's that Aquarius energy. Like, I am here to change the world with that Aries moon, where it's like, I'm not afraid. Like, the Aries,
do it.
Aries will fight. Aries will go out on the basketball court and not care. If you're my brother, I will take you down.
We'll beat David X Breath 11-1, bro.
All day.
David X Breath will be on the podcast next week.
I'm looking forward to hearing that one.
But to complete the kirtan also. Just if you guys have no idea what kirtan is, and I'm really just reciting this because I was like, what is kirtan? Like, when I first heard about it, kirtan is basically a community of people that are coming together to chant these mantras, and these mantras also are like sound vehicles for your attention, but also when you're singing or reciting something, there's a specific vibration to it, and these vibrations will essentially affect the way that the water is within your body, and therefore shift your mindset and your emotions and your energy. And when you have that drishti, it also really helps with being able to again, come back to yourself. So if you guys want like some experience with the kirtan or with mantras, there are a lot of different mantras that you can practice. There's Sanskrit mantras, which are kind of like native to India and to Ayurveda. And then there's more of like the Western practices like I am love, I am loving awareness, things like that. So you guys can do a Google search and find anything that you want. I even practice one for sleep, which is Om Agasti Sha Ina. And I swear I fall asleep on like the 4th time that I say it.
Powerful.
Yeah, but anyway, as we start to close up here, are there any other like really important things that you'd like to bring into the mind space of whoever is deciding to watch this?
Yeah, so we were mentioning, you said, oh, what are we doing tonight in the cacao ceremony?
Right.
And part of me was like, you know, some cacao ceremonies are like high energy, ecstatic dance. Some are more, you know, Thai massage or yin yoga or vibes, right? So I'd like to tune into the energy of the moon. The moon rules our emotions, our emotional body. And it also is connected to love languages and things like this. So I like to connect with the energy of the day through the moon. Of course, there's many other planets that have a factor as above, so below. But the moon, I'm a Cancer moon, so I'm very connected to the energy of the moon. So each day you might wake up today with the moon in Aries with a lot of energy, ready to get out of bed and create podcasts and go.
Right.
Other days you might wake up on a Cancer moon and be like, I just want to like stay in bed and cuddle, you know?
Yeah.
Or there may be, when you wake up on the Gemini moon, you want to be social. Or you wake up on the Pisces moon and you might want to be more romantic and poetic and dreamy, right? So being able to understand the astrological alignments can help you with, today is a good day to start my business, or today is a good day to do the podcast, or today is not the best day to travel, right?
Yeah.
When the sun, it's a Sagittarius new moon, great day to travel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When it's a Libra moon, great day to tap into your relationships. When it's the sun is in Capricorn, great day to get organized. And all about business and things like that. When the moon is in Virgo, it's time to be humble and come back and serve, right?
Chill,
every sign has a different
energy to it.
Different energy, you know?
Right. And we talked like a couple days ago. Grant knows astrology much more than I do, and I think you obviously tap into it a lot more than I do. Although I'm starting to learn more about it and understand it more, I haven't like really like made it a part of like how I do things. But what we talked about the other day was the moon will create a specific energy around your experience for the day. And we were talking about, if you're aware of your body, coming back to that self-awareness, if you're aware of your body, it's kind of like, if you could read your body, you could kind of read the moon, right? It's like, you got to be very aware of that. But some days, like you said, like Aries moon, yesterday, I was like heated all day. Like, I was gassed at the end because I was so heated all day.
That's Aries.
And it's Aries moon.
They go, and then they deplete, right?
Exactly. And so that's like understanding yourself, and then you could read the moon, or you could read the moon and understand yourself, and it's like it's all in synchronicity together.
Definitely. Astrology is a great tool to understand yourself.
Yeah.
You know, your desires, your motivations, your masculine, your feminine energy, even your career path, you can understand in astrology. It's called your midheaven, your MC. It's at the north of your chart. It's the way that the world will see you. Your rising sign is like your vehicle. It's like what you're stepping into. You're rising. And it's not a planet, but it's a sign that was rising on the horizon when you were born. So your Mercury is how you communicate. And Mercury just went direct. It came out of retrograde. Retrograde just means that the planet was going backwards. So I have a question for you. Can the moon
Oh boy,
what does it mean?
A quiz question?
What does it mean when the moon goes retrograde?
Honestly, I don't know.
The moon doesn't go retrograde.
I was gonna say, I don't think the moon goes retrograde.
Yeah.
But
So it's funny.
It's a trick question.
One of my teachers, mentors, friends, John J. Oliver, I was reached out to him and I was like, hey, I want to learn more in astrology, and he asked me a few questions to kind of like see where I was, and he was like, tell me, like, what does it mean when the moon goes retrograde? And I came up with this profound answer, and I was like, wow, like intuitively I felt like I was right,
Yeah.
It's like the moon doesn't go retrograde.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I don't think this.
But it's there's so much to the universe. There's so much to these planets, which are just stars, and we are all stars, and it has an influence on our every day-to-day life, and it's not something to just, oh, the moon is here, I'm afraid, right? It's just using it as a tool to understand, like, today I might have a little more energy, today I need to it's okay that I'm feeling this way, or like every day is different, you know? And being able to understand your natal chart, your birth chart, essentially your map of your life. Right. And it's another profound tool, such as yoga.
I'm thinking while you're saying this too, I did a Vedic astrology reading, which was like 4 hours when I was in Bali. And 2018 was like one of the hardest years of my life, like from an anxiety perspective, like debilitating anxiety, like questioning like my existence at a very profound level, and having fears of like suicide and like very, very like core who am I type experiences. Yeah. And when I did this reading in 2019, a year later, he was like, your astrology chart last year, these two planets, and I forget which ones they were like right on top of each other, and they are very profound, slow-moving teachers. Yep. So you experience a lot of pressure, and he compared it as like a diamond is only created through immense pressure, and it was like wow, like this makes so much sense. But
definitely, even through like, not to bring up like pandemic, whatever, but like during that there was astrological alignments with like Pluto, Saturn, I believe even Jupiter were all in Capricorn in retrograde. Like it was nuts. Like the astrologers were like, they saw things coming, and it's yes, you're able to like see, like I know on the retreat when it starts, like the moon's going to be in Gemini the first couple of days. It's going to be super fun and very social and get to know each other. And then Saturday and Sunday, the moon will be in Cancer. It's in the moon's home sign, and we're going to drop even deeper into the heart, and the heart's just going to blast open for the weekend. So it helps me plan a little bit ahead. It's not, oh, this is your chart, this is exactly what's going to happen. Future, right? It's up to you. You are here to create your own destiny. Right. But it's pretty profound how accurate some of the things are, such as if you are experiencing some darker days, you can look into astrology and be like, oh, this is why. Right. And hopefully that can bring you a sense of comfort and ease, and knowing that we're all working through this cycle of
our own individual path.
Yeah, and there's the universe up here, and there's the universe within here, and we're very complex beings, and that's why it's beautiful that we have these tools, and to be able to be like, we're not so crazy after all.
And recognize how unique and individual we all really are.
Exactly.
And also how much we all actually are the same, because we're all at the effect of all these things that are going on around us.
Definitely. And something you can do is, like, let's say you're a Sagittarius, you can Google, like, look at other Sagittariuses that are there. During Aquarius season, I love to see who's an Aquarius, right? Like Bob Marley and Rosa Parks and all these people that really changed the world, that built their community.
You kind of understand how,
And I understand that Rosa Parks I understand Bob Marley was an Aquarius, right? He was all about love and freedom. That's Aquarius energy. Right? So of course we are more than just our sun sign. You are not just a Sagittarius, right? Like you're grounded here. You're also a Capricorn rising. You're also an Aries moon. Your Mercury is somewhere, the way that you communicate. You're a whole mix, right? And
I'm really like actually quite refined. I'm like Capricorn, Sagittarius, Aries, and I think I have a little bit of Aquarius. I have like 4 things in my chart.
Yeah.
Is like wild.
Totally.
I think.
I know you have. I think your Chiron is in Libra.
Okay.
And then,
See, he knows better than I do.
Your Venus might be in Libra as well.
I'm looking at like the app. What's the app that I use?
CoStar, probably.
CoStar, yeah, CoStar. I was probably looking at the wrong thing.
Definitely.
But, yeah.
So, if any of you out there want an astrology reading or to understand your natal chart and your planetary alignments, please reach out to me. I would love to share.
Yeah, he does astrology readings.
Yeah. Definitely. It's an amazing experience, and you know, it's something that I look into every single day, and it helps me just stay in flow.
And so that's one place that they can reach out to you for. How can people find you and have more conversations with you, maybe learn about you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at the Cacao King.
Okay.
And you know, hit me with a follow, DM me, and would love to connect with you all. And thanks for having me on Marcello.
There's so much more to talk about. This man's got to go get a massage right now.
Yeah, right. What a life.
I know, what a life. But I don't think this will be the last time that you're on, because I feel like if there's this much that we could talk about, I feel like we've talked about this much. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Part 2 coming soon.
Hey,
my God.
Much love, brother. Much love, guys.
Namaste.
As always, if you guys really enjoyed this conversation, if it was thought-provoking, please feel free to reach out to us and have a conversation, whether privately on Instagram or Facebook or in the comments down below. Get a whole community, conversation going. And only if you really enjoyed this content, a like or subscription goes a far way. But only if you really did find some value and some joy in it. Otherwise, we will see you on the next podcast or on the weekly Sunday video drops, just talking about all things that can help us come back to ourselves and the power that we have within. Much love. Thanks for joining me, bro.
Namaste.
Namaste, guys.
Let's go.